Do you know what your weakest spots are at the start of the game? Maybe you should.
Thank you, Monica. In this lecture, we'll be seeing three simple games where, after some mistakes, one side is able to exploit the weakness of the f2 or f7 squares. Those squares are weak by nature, and unlike other pawns, they're only protected by the king. It's important that you bear that in mind in your game so that you know exactly what to do if your opponent tries to attack them. e4, e6, d4, d5. This is called the French defense. And that pawn on e4 is under attack. And white's got different options now. He can advance that pawn, or he can protect it by means of knight c3 or knight d2. In this game, white chose knight d2, and now black tries to attack white's center by means of c5. The normal variation here is to take on d5, followed by bishop check, and then knight to f3 and castle short. Instead of that, white makes a mistake. He takes on c5. Why is this a mistake? Well, black develops a piece for free, and that piece is a very good piece pointing at f2. It's a very nice diagonal. Still, it's not a blunder, but it's not a very good move. Exchanges which help your opponent to develop his pieces are not a good idea. But white's next move is a big blunder, because here he chose knight to e2. And now look at those bishops, they're blocked, and after black's next move, queen to b6, pointing at f2, how does white protect f2? There's nowhere to protect it. If we go f3, we get checkmated. If we move our knight like this to get the e2 square for our king, then this is checkmate. It's a horrible position. White's losing material. He's got to do something like knight here, bishop takes, and then queen e2 to protect f2, but he's already lost a piece. This position is completely lost. Let's see our next game. b4, this is a rather unusual move, but not a terrible move. It's a decent move. It prevents c5, and it prepares bishop b2, and this is a nice diagonal. So d5, bishop here, knight d7. This is slightly unusual. Black could have played knight to f6, not fearing bishop takes f6, because white does double our pawns, but we get the two bishops. So here, knight to f3, fighting for those, excuse me, fighting for those squares in the center. So knight to f6, e3, g6. Yes, this is decent. And now c5, threatening to take. Black should probably go c6 here, but instead of that, and like in the previous game, he took on c4, helping white to develop his bishop onto a really good diagonal. This is a really nasty diagonal. And black's next move is a huge blunder. He went bishop here. He should have played knight to b6 instead. So after bishop here, white's got a beautiful refutation. He can go bishop takes, king takes, and now knight to g5. Now if the king retreats to either f8 or e8, then white's going to go knight to e6, and the queen is lost. But if the king goes to g8, well, that's even worse, because white's got queen to b3, and black is getting checkmated. He can put his pieces in between, but white's going to take them with his queen. So it's going to end like this, with the king on f8 and the queen on f7, checkmate. Let's see our third game. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. Normal moves for black now are knight f6 or bishop c5. Instead, he chooses d6, which locks that bishop in, and that's why I don't like it. So knight to c3, and now if black goes knight to f6, then knight to g5 is incredibly annoying, because defending f7 is quite hard in this position. So maybe black should go bishop e7 here. Instead of that, he goes bishop to g4, which is not that good, because white now goes h3, and if he takes, white takes back, threatening to take on f7, and he's got the two bishops. It's a good position for white. But retreating is even worse because white's got a beautiful combination now with knight takes e5, double exclamation mark, a discover attack on the bishop. And if the bishop takes our queen, it ends like this. Bishop takes, king takes, a knight here. Beautiful checkmate with 3 minor pieces. The best move for black after knight takes e5 is knight takes, threatening to take here. But then we take this bishop, and if he takes our bishop, we go queen here, check. We pick up this knight, and then we're a pawn up in the resulting position, which might not sound like much, but don't forget that that pawn could one day become a queen.